What's your preference, lawyers, on working on our jury instructions? Would you like to do right now or come back at 1:30? And if you guys can't agree, I'll break the tie. The citizens are free to have a seat.
Our preference is 1:30. The reason is because we were preparing a written submission for the court based upon the state.
Based on what?
I think we have someone back at the office working on something in writing with regard to their, I think there's really probably only going to be one part of the self-defense instruction that's going to be at issue. You probably agree?
The defense could forward it to us as soon as they could. I know.
Okay.
I'll file, I'll send everything to the court and do the defense probably in the last like week and a half. So if whatever they got it, the earliest they can send it to us.
Sure, that's only fair. And it's not our final charge conference. This will be a run-through.
And we could probably, I'm trying to avoid stretching it way past 1:30.
Oh, sure.
So,
I don't expect to spend more than an hour, hour and a half with you, if that long.
Right.
We're going because the way I see it, almost all the instructions would be pretty standard, straightforward instructions. Have you guys talked about any potential lessers?
Well, they've provided us with lessers.
Provided you with category A lessers, but obviously there are other potentials we could discuss, but we haven't had any conversation. Obviously, we'll do that right now, Judge.
Yeah, well, I'll leave, have at least a little discussion about what you're going to be requesting, if anything, what they're going to be requesting, if anything. I don't know.
You pretty much got what we have. That
Well, I don't know if you provided me lessers.
I did, Judge.
In anticipation of their desire or your desire, or just gave me all of them.
I gave you the ones that I thought would be appropriate.
Sure.
Regardless of whether we wanted them or not. But there are other category B lessers that obviously I did not include.
So I'd like you guys to talk about that. Maybe we can reach some agreement.
Yes, sir.
And
I have a suggestion.
Sure.
And that is, let us talk, and if we come, I think we're going to come to agreement on like 99% of it.
I would suspect under the circumstance of this case.
Yes, sir. There's just, I think, one issue that we're probably going to need to discuss, and begging the court's indulgence, we do have somebody back at the office who is working on this, and I would prefer to at least start the discussion with the state about that, but not necessarily get the court involved in it unless we can come to some
I
sort
agree
of
with
an
that
agreement.
completely.
Right. So I don't know that, I'm just saying, I don't know if it's necessary to reconvene today to have a discussion about the jury instructions when we're only going to have maybe a disagreement about one part
Those
of
are
it.
famous last words on
Yeah.
jury instruction. That's when I pull my hair out and we're.
I'd prefer just to come back just to make sure that we're solidified. I mean, if something, especially jury instructions, the earlier the better. Start preparing closings, Your
Well,
Honor.
we could do it we could do it in the reverse. We could take a 5-minute break, talk a little bit, do a preliminary charge conference right now, break for the day, and I won't see you the rest of the day. And we just at least get some general idea, and then we'll do it again.
Yes,
I
sir.
guarantee it.
Yes, sir.
How's that?
That's perfect.
I'll give you 5-10 minutes to talk amongst yourselves. Then we'll do a kind of relatively quick charge conference, and whatever items we're going to debate will be for a later time. And then you're free to go to your offices and catch up on all your work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. Also, if the court could potentially identify to us how much time you're thinking that you're going to allot for closings for each side, that'd give us some time to know what kind of preparations.
Well, I always
for-
like to hold that card in my
Presentation.
pocket because I'm dying to know what you think you need. And I'll start with the state first.
2 hours.
See, I do that with the point spreads. I look in the paper, and before I look at the point spread, I say, this is what I think the point spread will be in that game. I love playing that game. 2 hours is exactly what I thought was appropriate in this case. Exactly. Hopefully that meets what you expected. 5 or 6 hours. 2 hours. That sounded exactly what I anticipated, and that sounds very reasonable based on the complexity and the amount of evidence in the case. 2 hours.
Outstanding.
State gets to go first. Who's going first? Do you know yet?
Ms. Ellis?
Ms. Ellis? And then who's going last?
I will, sir.
You're going last. Get together with the clerk about how you want to divide your time and any warnings.
Yes, sir.
So we're a little ahead of the game on this, but I like planning. Then you step over, you're doing it, I presume? and then you tell them what you want as far as warnings. All right. So let's take a 10-minute break for you guys to discuss, let's say 15-minute break. And we'll get out of here before lunch so everybody can eat, and we'll be break for the day. There you go. Yes. Don't. I'm gonna let them go in, the defense team is gonna go in there.
No, everybody.
Oh, everybody. Yeah, okay. Everybody. They're all going in. Are they out of there yet? As soon as they're out, you're in.
And then cautionary, I had one on verdict,
And verdict.
information, not indictment.
Correct. Other than that, we'll talk about the verdict form later. Single defendant, multiple counts, a standard, submitting the case to the jury. Standard. And now we get to the verdict form. Let's take a look at it together.
I believe we're all fine, Your Honor.
Have you looked at it, defense, and you're in agreement?
Yes.
All right.
I'll make those corrections. I know we'll have some conversations this weekend. I would expect Sunday night probably to have at least a finalized copy with whatever highlighted that will be an issue to the court.
Okay, everybody's in agreement, so you guys have ample time to work on your stuff the rest of today, and I won't bother you anymore. And I have a question. So Monday, we start, hopefully we start at 8:30, 8:45 or so, and you've got 3 more witnesses?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we're good to go, and,
Good to go, Your Honor.
all right.
As long as flights don't get canceled or something.
A bad storm coming right today, I think. We'll keep, up the northeast, I believe. I was watching the weather this morning, I think, yep, I see some heads shaking, yes. I'm not big on the weather, unless it's gonna affect my ball game. So, I'll keep my fingers crossed. It should blow through and we should be fine. So 3 witnesses, and how long do you expect them to take? Guesstimate, I'm not holding you to it.
Would take a morning, probably 3.5 hours.
All right. So if we could start promptly, I will
Maybe a
go.
little longer. I mean, I'd say 4 just to make sure you're happy with, it really depends on the cross. My estimates
just
have
gonna
been
turn-
much
yeah.
reduced because there's been less cross than I put into my estimates.
I
So,
picked up on the same thing.
With regard to the Dr. Trumpeter,
That's your witness.
yes, and he's got to get out of here Monday afternoon.
Okay?
So we would really like to be able to call him first on Monday.
What time is his flight Monday?
You know what? He was supposed to text me that information, and I don't have that just yet.
All right. I told you I'd be flexible to accommodate both sides. Hopefully, the state feels like, based on the little hiccups we had yesterday and so on, that I've been super accommodating, and I'm going to do the same thing for both sides, and I get it. I haven't forgotten what it's like to stand over there. It's for the people that are out there watching. Trial lawyers have heart attacks long before other people because it's so hard. These guys. It's much easier to be me than them. So don't have a heart attack, any of you. Now, let me turn, so we'll take care of that issue as it comes up. Approximately how many witnesses do you have? Because I got some things going on my end that I'm trying to take care of.
Okay. Total? Let me just make sure. Approximately 9 or 10.
Okay? And if we do all their witnesses and do your doctor and maybe a couple more of your witnesses,
Perhaps?
when do you think you'll be resting? Tuesday or Wednesday?
And I know that that's important for determining when we're going to do closings, right? So we think probably Tuesday. Probably.
If we work, that will be my goal, is to finish testimony on Tuesday evening, and so Wednesday when we come in, we do closings.
So, and I'm sure, both,
It's a moving target. I'm very respectful of it.
and I'm sure we would both like some time to incorporate all that.
Your staff behind you has scrunched up their faces severely with your prediction, so why don't you take a minute and talk to them?
Mr. Richardson may be the only one that thinks we're going to finish Tuesday. I think we're going to finish.
That's why we have a group.
It's, well,
I don't think there's a chance we finish Tuesday, frankly.
okay. Well,
Unless they wave across.
well, I don't know what kind of cross they're going to, just like you didn't know what you guys were going to do, and it's perfectly fine. Know that I'll be really pushing hard, and that Wednesday, let's assume we go to Wednesday, and it takes till Wednesday at noon. We're going to march forward with closing arguments. That gives us.
I take it we won't close prior to Wednesday. So even if for some miraculous reason we finished at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday, we're not closing on Tuesday. Earliest that we close is Wednesday.
Correct. Either Wednesday morning,
Yes, sir.
worst case scenario, Wednesday afternoon. And if we start at 1 o'clock, that puts us right at 5 o'clock. 2 hours for each side, puts us right at 5 o'clock. And then I'll make a determination how I'm going to handle it from there. But keep me updated as to the progress in your minds, because I got to take care of some things on my side behind the scenes, not about my personal schedule. It's not about me personally. I haven't made up my mind about certain things regarding the jury and how I'm going to have them deliberate, et cetera.
Yes, sir.
You guys look,
I read you.
We're fine, Your Honor.
There's going to be some motions too.
there always are, every case. All right. Then this was fruitful, and that's,
Might be overruled on
I'm not going anywhere.
I did have one more thing, Your Honor. We've been discussing with the defense on certain aspects of testimony that had been brought out from some of their witnesses, like during the stand your ground hearing and during deposition as it relates to justifiable use of force, things of that nature. I think we're very comfortable, and those witnesses are not expected to testify to those type of issues based on the court's prior ruling as it related to Mr. Libby, Goose Gander. We're all in agreement, I believe, in understanding that. We do, however, potentially have a motion on Dr. Trumpeter. And it's based on conversations we had with defense, but it's also largely based on what happened during jury selection, and then also some of the testimony of one of our witnesses as far as whether or not we believe we will want to try to limit his testimony further, or maybe even ask to exclude him based on what we expect his testimony to be. I know we just had conversations with defense. I just want to make the court aware, we need to go and research it more, but, I didn't expect a jury veneer to say some of the things they did in relation to his testimony. So how much assistance he's going to provide to this jury that's seated, that's something that we need to discuss. We understand the timeliness of it. It's not intended to, it's not strategically intended to do anything other than the way things have progressed in this trial. We feel that we may have a legal basis to bring it to the court's attention. And so if we do that, we'll obviously provide, you know, the most notice that we can by bringing it up here today even.
Well, I think we ended last night with you guys saying you were going to discuss it.
Yes.
So hopefully you have discussed it, and hopefully you made some progress, because you guys have done that over and over again in the case, and the court appreciates it. I will say this, I've kind of jumped on the issue already, but I'm not prepared to speak about it yet, because I don't really know what your potential motion's going to say. I got a little flavor from Ms. Cox yesterday, and I've dealt with the issue in the civil arena. I think there's a dearth of case law when it comes to the criminal arena. But as I've said over and over again, my job's to follow the law. I'm telling you right now, in my hands, I don't have any. Provide it to me, I'll digest it like I've done everything else, and I'll give you a fair shot and rule one way or the other. Fair enough?
Of course, Judge.
All right. I'll see you guys around 8:15 on Monday morning. Have a wonderful weekend as best you can under the circumstances. To all the citizens, have a good weekend, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Judge. You too.
Recess.